Hello and welcome back to this Global Health YouTube channel. My name is Greg Martin. We're in the middle now of doing a series of videos on research methods and study design. The last video we looked at case control studies and cohort studies. In this video we're going to look at randomized control trials, and we're going to take a look at the idea of confounding and talk about why it is that randomized control trials are so good at controlling for confounding. The starting point is we take a group of people who have now volunteered. These are trial participants. They've said, yes, we will participate in your trial. And we randomly assign them to two groups. Now, it's important that they're randomly assigned to the two groups because what we want is we want these groups to be similar in every possible way. The one group gets an intervention. That intervention might be a drug, it might be, there's a number of things can it be. Keep in mind that randomized control trials don't have to have people, individuals, as the subject of interest. They could be communities, it could be a hospital, but for the purpose of this talk, let's imagine that these are people we're talking about, right? So the one group of people get an intervention, they get a drug that we're trying to test. The other group get a placebo or a non-intervention, right? But we give them a placebo, and then we follow these two groups up and we analyze the data, we compare the data, and we see if there's any difference between the two groups over time. One of the problems that they solve is the problem of confounding variables. And let me just try and explain what a confounding variable is. A confounding variable really is an alternative explanation for a relationship that we've observed. So let's imagine, for example, that we've noticed that with an increase in shark attacks, we see a corresponding increase in the sale of ice cream. We must assume that there's some alternative explanation for this relationship. And the alternative explanation really is what we call a confounding variable. And in this case, it'll be hot weather, right? So as the temperature improves and it becomes summer, people will be swimming in the sea more and they're going to get bitten by sharks. At the same time, as the temperature goes up and it becomes summer, people buy ice creams more. And so we could erroneously assume that there's this causal relationship between shark attacks and eating ice cream, but that's not the case. There's an alternative explanation. The important thing about confounding variables is that they must be associated, or they must be connected with the exposure and the outcome of interest, but not on the causal pathway. And that's what a confounding variable is. So the reason that randomized control trials are so good at dealing with this problem of confounding is that if you've got some sort of a variable that would skew the relationship between an exposure and an outcome, but that variable is equally distributed in the two groups that you're considering, so the intervention group and the placebo group. Both groups are equally affected by that confounding variable, and so when you compare the two groups, the effect of that confounding variable is nullified. And the beauty of a randomized control trial is you don't need to know what the confounding variable is. Because the two groups are equal in every way that we can imagine, confounding variables that we haven't even been able to envision are controlled for automatically in a randomized control trial. Beautiful stuff. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was helpful. We're going to do some more videos on epidemiology and study design, so stay tuned. I think of the people who subscribe to the channel as a kind of a subset of the broader audience, and they're more likely to be people that are interested in job opportunities in the global health space and where it is that they might find opportunities to do consulting work in global health. And so I'm putting together, they're a little less formal, they're a little less flashy, but videos that are just kind of talk people through what's out there and what's happening in the global health workspace. So subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll be back.